$180. $795. Same prostate, same veteran, same year. The difference wasn't surgery, and it wasn't a worse doctor. It was which of 3 ladders the ratter climbed, and there's a second one further down this code that decides whether you get to climb at all.
Erica here, and I want to start with the strangest thing about this code. Diagnostic code 7527 covers prostate gland injuries, infections, hypertrophy, postoperative residuals, bladder outlet obstruction, and it contains no percentages whatsoever.
Not a single one. What it says instead is rate as voiding dysfunction or urinary tract infection, whichever is predominant. That's the entire code. It's a signpost pointing somewhere else.
This is like a menu that just says, see the other menu.
And the other menu has 3 columns. Section 4.115a says to rate the particular condition as urine leakage, frequency, or obstructed voiding. 3 ladders. And here's the part nobody tells you. They do not top out in the same place.
Obstructed voiding stops at 30%. Frequency stops at 40. Leakage goes to 60. Same condition, same man, 3 different ceilings depending on which symptom the rater writes down.
Elena, am I close in saying most guys get put on the lowest one?
You're close. And the reason is almost sad. A veteran walks in and describes what bothers him, which is a slow stream. Slow stream is obstructed voiding. That's the 30% ladder. And at his severity, it's the 10% rung. So before we go further, ask yourself this. Which symptom did you describe first, the stream or the nights? Meanwhile, the thing that actually wrecks his life, being up 4 times a night, sits on a different ladder that pays more, and nobody asked him about it. And the fix is a question, not a treatment. There's also a rule further down that decides which ladder you're allowed to climb at all, and it turns on one word. Quick, honest ask while we are here. If this has been worth your time so far, hit like, then subscribe and ring the bell. I know everyone asks, but this one is free, and it is how a small channel like this actually grows. Let's put the 3 ladders side by side, because seeing the ceilings together is what changes how you file.
Professor Duran came in for this one, and I'll say why. The arithmetic here is easy. The judgment call about which ladder you belong on is not, and that's the part that costs people money.
The structure is worth stating plainly because it is unusual. 3 symptom families, 3 separate scales, and an instruction that you are evaluated under whichever one predominates. Obstructed voiding runs 0, 10, 30. Urinary frequency runs 10, 20, 40. Continual urine leakage runs 20, 40, 60. A veteran with identical pathology can sit anywhere from 0 to 60 depending entirely on which family his symptoms are recorded under, and that is not a loophole. It is the schedule working as written.
Wait, leakage starts at 20? There's no 10% leakage?
There is not. The leakage scale begins at 20% because its lowest rung already requires wearing absorbent materials. That is a meaningful threshold, and it is why the leakage ladder both starts and ends higher than the other 2.
Liam, that's the right question to ask. So the strategy question isn't which symptom is worst on paper. It's which family your real daily life falls into. And you only get one.
That word predominant is doing enormous work. It means most disabling, not most recently mentioned, and not the one the examiner happened to ask about first.
And it is assessed on the evidence in front of the rutter. If the record describes a weak stream in detail and mentions nocturia in 4 words, the weak stream will read as predominant whether or not it is.
Which is the whole episode in 1 sentence. Thank you, Duran. The ceilings are the thing I'd have never thought to compare.
Start with the ladder most enlarged prostate claims land on, because it's the one you'll describe by instinct.
Obstructed voiding, hesitancy, slow stream, weak stream, decreased force of stream. If you've said any of those to a doctor, this is where you got put.
Erica, that's every man over 60 describing his morning.
It is, and the rungs are short. 0% is obstructive symptomatology with or without stricture disease requiring dilatation 1 to 2 times a year.
10% is marked obstructive symptomatology. Marked, not present. That word is the whole rung.
And 30% is urinary retention, requiring intermittent or continuous catheterization. That's the top. There is no 40 on this ladder. No 60. Nothing.
So the ceiling is a catheter.
Liam, the ceiling is a catheter. Which means if you are on this ladder and you are not catheterizing, your maximum is 10%. $180.42 a month.
Now the ladder almost nobody gets put on, and it's the one an enlarged prostate is famous for.
Duran's back with us for this one, and I told him he gets the good scale this time.
Urinary frequency, and the criteria are unusually mechanical. 10% requires a daytime voiding interval between 2 and 3 hours, or awakening to void 2 times per night. 20%, an interval between 1 and 2 hours, or awakening 3 to 4 times per night. 40%, an interval of less than 1 hour, or awakening 5 or more times per night.
Say the second half of each of those again because that's the part that matters.
Or, the nocturia count is an alternative route to the same percentage, not a supporting detail. Awakening 5 or more times a night satisfies 40% on its own, with no reference to daytime interval at all.
Hold on. Getting up 5 times a night is 40% by itself?
By itself, if it is documented, that is what the word or does in the criterion.
Erica, documented is the load-bearing word there. Nobody records nocturia unless somebody asks. It is not in a lab result, it is not on a scan, and it does not appear in a chart because a machine found it.
It appears because a veteran said a number out loud and a clinician wrote it down.
Thanks, Duran. The or in those criteria is the thing I'd want every viewer to hear twice. Let's put real money on this, because the abstraction hides how big the gap is. Take a veteran with service-connected benign prostatic hypertrophy. He described a weak stream. He is not catheterizing. He sits at 10% on the obstructed voiding ladder. For a single veteran under the rates that took effect this past December, that is $180.42 a month.
Elena, same man. He is also up 5 times a night, every night, and has been for years. Nobody wrote it down.
Written down, that's 40% on the frequency ladder, $795.84 a month.
Elena, so the difference is 600 and change for the same body.
$615.42 a month, $7,385 a year. For answering a question nobody asked him.
And I want to be precise because this is where these episodes get oversold. He does not get both. He gets the predominant one. The point isn't that he stacks them. The point is that he was measured on the wrong one.
If you only hold one number from this, hold the gap rather than either endpoint. $615 a month is what a missing sentence costs.
The third ladder is the one with the highest ceiling and the fewest people on it, and there's a reason for both.
Continual urine leakage. 20% requires wearing absorbent materials which must be changed less than 2 times per day. 40% change 2 to 4 times per day. 60% requiring the use of an appliance or absorbent materials changed more than 4 times per day.
Erica, every rung on that ladder assumes pads.
Which is why it starts at 20 and not 10. There's no such thing as a mild rung here. And that's also why an untreated enlarged prostate usually isn't on it.
The leakage ladder is where men land after the surgery, not before it. Postoperative residuals are named in 7527 for exactly that reason.
So if you had a transurethral resection or a prostatectomy and you are wearing pads now, you are very likely on the wrong ladder if your rating still says 10% for a weak stream you no longer have.
The symptom moved and the rating stayed put.
That's the pattern. Ratings are sticky, bodies aren't.
So let's turn all of that into what you actually do, because this claim is unusually mechanical.
Duran's back for the last one, and I want him to hear how thin the evidence bar actually is here.
Count your nights. 7 of them written down before the exam. Not roughly, a number.
That is the single highest value thing in this episode, and it costs a week and a piece of paper. The frequency criteria are numeric, and a numeric criterion cannot be satisfied by an adjective. Often is not 2. Often is not 5. A rater cannot climb a numbered ladder on a word.
Duran, does the same go for the daytime interval?
It does, and it is the half people skip. Say 2 hours or 90 minutes. Frequent tells the rater nothing they can score.
Then say the word. Tell the examiner which symptom is most disabling in those terms, because predominant is the exact test the schedule applies.
And if you wear anything, say how many changes a day. That number is a rung on the highest ladder in the code.
Now the honest part. And I've been building a bigger claim than a lot of people will get. If you are not up at night and you are not wearing anything, the obstructed voiding ladder is genuinely where you belong, and 10% is genuinely your rating. This episode does not turn a mild prostate into 40%, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling something. But here's what I'd actually do if you're already rated at 10 and you've been up 4 times a night for years. File for an increase rather than a new claim, and bring the 7-night count. That's the smart play. It's an evidence fix, not a medical one.
And it is a fair one. The schedule is not being generous there. It is being asked, for the first time, the question it was written to answer.
Duran, don't disappear before the next messy one.
Bring me something with 3 ladders again, and I will clear the afternoon.
Here's the sentence to keep. An enlarged prostate is rated on the symptom you describe, so describe the one that costs you the most sleep. Subscribing is free and takes 1 tap, and it puts the next one of these in front of somebody who is about to walk into an exam unprepared. And if you know a veteran rated at 10% for a week's stream who has not slept through a night in years, send them this. That is $615 a month sitting in a question nobody asked. I'll go first. I would have described the stream too, because that's the symptom you notice in daylight. So tell me, how many times were you up last night? So here's the whole thing in 1 line. This code rates the symptom you say out loud, so say the one that costs you the most sleep. Count 7 nights, then go read your letter. Elena, standing in on the messy code, and thanks for having me. Sleep well, all of you.